I'm here quickly at the Essenville fluororichterite occurrence. It's just a road cut. You can see the calcite vein, and it's just chock full of the kind of the dark minerals, the fluororichterite. And actually, if you look across the street over there, there's a continuation of that occurrence, or that vein. It's just not as big than over here, but this place is pretty picked over. So, but I just thought I'd stop by for like an hour or so, just to check it out again. I was here probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. It's probably been that long. Already then it was pretty slim pickings, so I'll try and show you guys around for those who haven't seen this site before. And then go on to my next places that I plan to go. Here's the main part of the occurrence, just a close-up of it. You can see people have come in here with saws and stuff, which is technically you're not supposed to do that as mineral pickers, but you know, there are people who break the rules. Tisk, you know. But you can see it's just this large calcite vein lens. I don't know. Is it a lens? Is it a vein? I think it's a vein, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. But you just see it's chock full of this. This dark green mineral is the fluororichterite. Now, generally, the occurrence of fluororichterite is quite uncommon, and this is kind of in, at least in the Ontario circles, this is kind of a famous spot because it has such large fluororichterites, and compared to the rest of the world, there's not a lot of fluororichterite occurrences. Last time I was here, I focused in here. There was a bit of the calcite vein exposed, and I managed to chip off some crystals. If I can remember, I'll put a link in the description below, if I remember. Sorry if I don't. I tend to say, oh, I'll put a link in the description, and then I won't. But that all used to be kind of exposed calcite along here, but obviously people have been digging back here because there was some loose calcite back here underneath the soil from what I remember, and it looks like people have just dug that all up and kind of just pushed it this way. But as you can see, this place is pretty, like, you'll find bits of fluororichterite. It's just not going to be the really large pieces. Like, here's a nice little double terminated, intact, I believe it's double terminated. Well, actually that looks like it's broken there. It's hard to tell. But you can see there's just fluororichterite all over the place. And it's kind of this dark black, dark green color. And yeah, it's just, this place has just been picked over. That's what usually happens, is eventually popular, easy to get places will eventually just run out of minerals, and you won't be able to find much. Well, that's not true. You'll be able to find bits of fluororichterite, you just won't be able to find it'll be very hard to find a nice, really big, intact piece. Because of all the digging and chipping, it'll be very hard for you to extract or find a large whole piece. But I'm gonna poke around a bit more, and then I'm gonna go on to my next spot, because this spot is obviously pretty picked over. I probably won't even leave with anything new unless I find a couple nice whole, at least 2-3 centimeter long crystals. I won't be leaving here with anything really, because I've got some nice pieces at home already that I collected a while back already, and I could always just, you know, if I really want a nice big one, I could always look on the market and buy one to add to my collection. But yeah, if I do find anything exciting, I will show you guys, of course. But don't expect anything too mind-blowing here. This is what you should expect to find if you're just kind of picking around. You got your broken pieces on the right, and then you got your smaller double terminated, kind of grodier, not so pleasant looking double terminated crystals on the left. That's kind of what you should expect. That the probably like the 3 centimeter crystal on the right. That one, it has some good faces, but then the one side is a bit damaged, and then the one termination is just busted. But it's still, for its size, it's pretty good looking. Most of the pieces of fluororichterite that size are just pretty busted up chunks of larger fluororichterite. So to find something like that nowadays is pretty good. I wouldn't say never visit this site. I would just say if you're gonna visit this site, have it as like a pit stop to some other sites, which is what I'm doing today. Actually, this is just a quick pit stop on my way to some other collecting sites. Before I left, I thought I'd show you guys the other side of the road where the current goes up to. Kind of seems to peter out, but you can still see there's a bit of calcite, and here's just a busted chunk of fluororichterite, but you can see there is fluororichterite along here. It seems to, I think that vein runs kind of like this, and you can see, I think that might be a bit of it. Some very large kind of richterite. You can see the crystal faces. That might not be richterite. Well, that kind of does look like richterite, some type of amphibole. So you can see the large crystal faces and the calcite. Well, that looks like more like feldspar. So I don't know if that's the vein. The vein might actually run that way, and it's just covered in the leaf litter. But yeah, there is some on this side. It doesn't look as good. Like compared to the other side, the vein's probably a lot thinner. And it's probably a lot harder to get anything of worth. I'm just looking around. You can see the discard piles in the dirt that's washed down. You can see there's lots of mica on this side. There is mica on that side too. Actually, I took a couple pieces that have some smaller mica crystals in them because I think those would look cool under the microscope. So I'm going to take them home and look under a microscope with those. But you can see the quality here is not as good, but still worth checking out and showing you guys so that you guys can get a better understanding of the occurrence. But I think I'm gonna pack up and head out. Might poke around here for like a minute more just to check it out a little farther and then call it there. I thought I would just quickly show you guys the S&Phil fluororichterite occurrence specimens that I took. Took some calcite specimens. I was more actually interested in the mica crystals in there. But I took a small one. It just has it perched in there. You got another piece of calcite with a full crystal in there. And I've got some like this busted large one. It's got one termination, but the other end is busted. And this side is a bit grody, but it's got quite clean crystal faces. And I've got this one. It's real grody, but it is actually in fact whole. It's just really not well